Good evening, I'm Mehdi Hassan. We are now nearly 6 months removed from January the 6th, and there is still no sign from the administration or from Democrats in Congress of a bipartisan or even partisan investigation of the Capitol insurrection. Why is that important? Well, for one reason, meet Darren Beattie. He was a speechwriter for the Trump White House until he was fired in 2018 after it emerged he had spoken at a conference for white supremacists, as you do. And then he was appointed by the Trump White House to a commission that preserves Holocaust memorials. No, I'm not making this up. Today, Beattie runs a far-right website called Revolver News. Now, you might wonder, well, why should I care about an ex-speechwriter who was too extreme even for the Trump White House? Well, because Darren Beattie and Revolver News are behind the latest January 6th conspiracy theory, which suggests undercover agents or informants for the federal government were involved in the planning and execution of the attack on the Capitol, possibly to, quote, frame the entire MAGA movement as potential domestic terrorists. A theory which, I'm sorry to have to tell you, is starting to take the Republican Party and the conservative movement by storm. This is Alex Jones, InfoWars. This is real tinfoil hat stuff. And yet Beattie and Revolver News were the sources cited last week by Tucker Carlson, the highest-rated primetime host on Fox News, when he decided to give Beattie a platform and amplify this bonkers conspiracy to millions of his Republican viewers.
So it turns out that this white supremacist insurrection was, again, by the government's own admission in these documents, organized at least in part by government agents.
Tucker Carlson is not just asking questions. He's not just wondering whether FBI informants may have been among those who stormed the Capitol, a legitimate line of inquiry. He's not just pointing out that the FBI has been accused of manufacturing terror plots in the past, especially to entrap Muslim suspects, which is true. They have been accused of that. He's flat out stating that the insurrection was, and I quote, by the government's own admission in these documents, organized at least in part by government agents, which is a ridiculous and false claim, for which there is, of course, zero evidence. Perhaps most importantly, legal experts explain that the government cannot name undercover agents as unindicted co-conspirators, which goes to the heart of Carlson's and Revolver News' conspiracy. Whoops! That whole argument about unindicted co-conspirators mentioned in January 6 charging documents, they must be government agents. Better luck next time. The thing about Carlson, though, and his current power and influence, is that whatever he says, however mad or offensive it is, these days quickly becomes received wisdom on the right, including among Republican lawmakers. His fellow insurrection denier GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was quick to tweet after his segment, "We need names and answers about the FBI operatives who were involved in organizing and carrying out the January 6th Capitol riot." And by Thursday, this loony conspiracy was being repeated on the floor of the House of Representatives by GOP Representative Louis Gohmert.
So if there were federal agents that were involved on January 6th, we really need to know what the FBI knew and when they knew it. And not only that, we need to know how much participation did any of our federal friends, either at DOJ, FBI, or any of the intel community, what kind of role were they playing?
This is insane. It's beyond bonkers, and it's another reminder of how unhinged the modern GOP has become. From accusing Antifa of being behind the Capitol attack to now accusing the FBI of being behind it. Anybody but the actual people who did it, Trump supporters, far-right militias, the Proud Boys. Look, 9/11 truthers were mostly on the far left. Today, the 1/6 truthers are all on the far right. The problem is, the far right today dominates the Republican Party. But wait, there's more. Because while there's zero evidence that the January 6th attack was an inside job, coordinated and launched by members of the federal government, by FBI agents, there actually are legitimate questions to be asked about what role GOP lawmakers played in inciting the attack, perhaps even coordinating with the attackers. Remember the morning of January the 6th?
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
That was was Mo Brooks speaking at the pre-insurrection Stop the Steal rally in D.C., one of three hardline GOP congressmen, the other two being Andy Biggs and Paul Gosar, who one of the organizers of that rally accused of helping him plan the whole thing, something all three lawmakers vehemently deny. And Congresswoman Lauren Boebert tweeted on the morning of January 6th that, quote, "Today is 1776. NBC obtained a transcript of an FBI interview with an alleged Capitol insurrectionist, which shows that agents asked about whether the defendant had any potential connections, not just to right-wing extremist groups, but also to members of Congress. A line of inquiry that is probably not limited to just one defendant. Look, I'm not saying members of Congress were involved in the assault on the United States Capitol. What I am saying is that we need to investigate this stuff, find out what connections, if any, there were. And isn't it ironic that the people pushing this bonkers conspiracy, claiming it was an inside job by the FBI, are also the ones who don't want any kind of investigation or commission at all? That tells you everything you need to know. Joining me now is Congressman Bill Pascrell, Democrat from New Jersey. Congressman, thanks so much for coming back on the show. What do you make of this conspiracy theory that baselessly points to FBI agents or undercover informants as being the people who were behind the attack, organizing the attack on the Capitol?
Well, it seemed to me, Mehdi, that we've heard this tune before about conspiracies. In fact, there are a number of groups that are dedicated to making them up. I mean, you remember this picture, the weekend after January the 6th. These are not tourists floating around wanting to see the statues or wanting to learn. That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
And any president of the United States, Mehdi, would see the possibilities of this happening, particularly when you gave orders to them at the White House of the United States of America. I mean, this is pretty fascinating. The day of January 6th, 135 congressmen voted to overturn the government. Remember, we stayed to 4 o'clock in the morning to January the 7th in order to accept those votes from the electors. So we did it. 4 o'clock in the morning, Mehdi.
So,
we finished.
Congressman, you've been outspoken. You've been outspoken on this issue, including on this show back in January, about the alleged role that Republicans may have played, not just inciting the insurrection, but trying to overturn the election. You went so far as calling for those 130-odd Republican members who tried to overturn the election to not be seated in Congress, to face some kind of censure or sanction. And yet, Congressman, we're coming up on 6 months. And not only are all those Republicans still serving in the House, your party, the leadership of the Democratic Party, hasn't done anything to hold them to account. No special committees, no independent commission, no House committees investigating this stuff. Why is there so much inaction from the leadership of the Democratic Party, from Speaker Pelosi? Doesn't it frustrate you? Because it frustrates me and many of our viewers, I'm sure.
I'm past frustration, Betty. We've got to do something about this and do it soon. I know that Speaker Pelosi has been working every day, either with the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee. I carry the Constitution with me at all times. And Article 14 is very clear about sedition. I mean, if that wasn't sedition and they're trying to stop the vote of a president, they've never congratulated. They never even shook his hand. I wonder about the internal stuff that this has lost in Joe Biden. I mean, they're acting like he's not the president, and he is the president of the United States. And if
Congressman, what I understand. You say you're past frustration. Good. But being angry or frustrated isn't enough. I'm saying to you, 6 months later, it's not good enough for you to say that Nancy Pelosi's just having conversations behind the scenes. I mean, do you really think the Republican Party, if they were in control of the House and Antifa or Black Lives Matter had attacked the Capitol on the day Donald Trump was having his vote certified, do you think Republicans would have waited 6 months to do something about it? Why can't your party move faster?
Those groups that you mentioned, I don't think they'd have to go to Washington to be arrested. I understand that. But I am telling you, I have firsthand knowledge that Nancy Pelosi's been working on this every day. There are a lot of arrests that have occurred since January 6th. And I can assure you, Mehdi, there are going to be more. And I hope that that scheme that this is the FBI plotting against Trump is so bizarre. I mean, I don't spend any time responding to that kind of thing. There is no evidence of that. Just like there was no evidence, Mehdi, and it didn't matter. To any one of those judges could have said, hey, wait a minute. This is going on in this state. It's going on. Not one of the 60 can't find one? Who the hell are they kidding? It's bizarre.
The lawsuits fell apart.
Yes.
Congressman,
And
let me ask you this before we get up. Before we run out of time, let me ask you this. What do you make of these new reports coming out that has Kevin McCarthy on the record saying Donald Trump has told him he wants to be House Speaker? It sounds ridiculous, but nothing is beyond the modern GOP. There's actually no constitutional bar to them making him Speaker if they win the midterms. How worried are you that Donald Trump could very soon be second in line to the presidency as Speaker of the House?
That's correct. And I like the bizarre things to go on, because this only indicates that he's out of his mind, or he really plans to be dictator, which isn't going to happen in the greatest country in the world. The way they responded to those police officers who protect us day in and day out, they should be treated like common criminals, not political prisoners. Common criminals. That's what they are. And we're going to do something about it. You watch. And you're just as frustrated as I am.
I hope so, Congressman. I hope so. We will get you back when Nancy Pelosi announces her commission, maybe, and talk about what's actually happening on the Democratic side. But Congressman Bill Pascrell, always appreciate you coming on the show to share your insights and your opinions. Always value them. Thank you so much.